Hello there. They call me Mr. E. Now, you've probably heard our society being called capitalist before. You are probably even used to hearing people criticize capitalists and capitalism, like it's trendy or rebellious. But what is capitalism? Isn't it just some economic term? Boring. Capitalism is more than just a buzzword, because it best describes the type of economy that dominates the globe. The type of economy you have dictates how everyone lives, works, and how goods and services are made. Today, our societies are in the capitalist style. Now, capital equals money, or more accurately, it is money being converted into something, a commodity. So a capitalist is a person who has capital and intends to use it to make more capital. That's it. Now it sounds simple enough, so let's dive into it a little deeper, shall we?
My name is Mystery. For reasons unknown, I have been thrown back into the past almost 100 years, and this is my story.
Exchange value, or money, has been around throughout the ages in various forms, depending on what cultures valued at the time and what could be used as an equivalent to measure value between tradable goods, like currency. So capital is not some new phenomenon that only existed since the Industrial Revolution a few hundred years ago. Capitalism, however, is not just about money, but how it's invested in order to produce things, commodities, in an attempt to get back more capital. Capitalism centers on how everything in society is produced, and capitalists are the ones that control production. Before capitalism, goods and commodities were created to serve a purpose or on demand, i.e., if people in your community needed warmer clothes or food or shovels, then the divisions of labor, handicrafts, agriculture, manufacturing would produce what is required to service people's needs. Capitalism, on the other hand, doesn't really work like this. A capitalist will presuppose a market demand and produce commodities for their sale, not based on satisfying a necessity. For an example, a capitalist will buy cotton and machines and make 100 t-shirts in the hope that people will buy 100 t-shirts. If no one buys them, the capitalist is at a loss. If everyone loves them so much they buy them for some ridiculous amount, our capitalist is winning. The important feature here is that in a capitalist society, things are made to be sold to consumers for a profit, to turn capital into more capital, not solely because things are required. Now, many capitalists will argue that this is the most effective way of organizing an economy, because no capitalist really wants to create something they cannot sell, resulting in a loss. And so, the system magically regulates itself in some utopian equilibrium. But it does not take much to look around at how wasteful our current society is to know that this is not wholly true. Remember, capitalism or capitalist production works on this premise. You invest capital to make more capital. Accordingly, this system is forever looking for more capital, to more money, to satisfy itself. This is the reason you hear economists and people in the news always going on about growth. Capitalism needs continual growth in order to function and not collapse. But can something really grow infinitely on a finite planet? Maybe not. Explains what these guys are really up to then, doesn't it? The critical element in the capitalist system we haven't touched on here are workers. Now, the people that exert effort, labor, for a capitalist to produce commodities for the market, these people are essential in the capitalist system because they are what creates value. Wait, what? Okay, so in primitive cultures, humans work together in clans and tribes to create value. In more complex societies, slaves and peasants created value for the enrichment of their masters and lords. These systems were held together by laws and religion and hereditary ties and by force. In capitalist society, however, the people that do all the work, workers, are free people. So a capitalist will pay a worker for their labour time to ultimately create things for them. Now let's go back to the example of our t-shirt capitalists. Now they have cotton and machines to create 100 t-shirts, but how do they become finished products? Our capitalists could do it themselves, but let's just say it takes a year for them to do it alone. They won't make any profit that way, competing with others who produce t-shirts also. So our capitalists will hire workers to labour away with the cotton and at the machines in order to make 100 t-shirts as efficiently as reasonably possible. Now, if you look at this process, the ingredient added to the cotton and the machinery that creates the t-shirts is work or effort. Someone's effort creates an item, in this case being a t-shirt. They have added value to make an item with their labour. Nothing else has created value here. Not the cotton, not the machines. The worker has added value. Only conscious effort creates. As a capitalist, it is therefore integral that you pay your workers less than the value they create in a day or a year in order to make more capital for yourself. If a capitalist paid their workers their full worth, they would no longer be a capitalist. And so, capitalism requires a free workforce that will sell their work like a commodity. Capitalism functions by making sure workers are paid enough to survive from workday to workday, year to year, enough to procreate and make more workers in the future. Then the system can continue. Considering the idea that value is created by workers' efforts or labour, capitalism naturally seeks to extract as much labour out of workers as possible for as little payment as possible. This is why today there is so much regulation around the workplace, i.e. standard working hours, break times, minimum pay, holidays, sick leave, etc. 200 years ago, capitalists had people working 24 hours a day if they could, and children as young as 4 years old employed under what today we would consider unimaginably horrendous conditions. In the eyes of capitalists, people, workers, are parts in the production process who have been paid for, like raw materials and equipment, and therefore are not humans, but part of the economy, expendable ones. But today, our capitalist societies are much more humane and regulated, or so we think. Ever wondered why your fancy sneakers cost $10 to make, but they sell for $200? Ask the people manufacturing them in sweatshops in third world countries or in ones without serious labour protection laws. Capitalists will go where they can to exploit labour the best, to take more of the value it creates. By paying next to nothing for cheap labour, its worth has been removed from the production cost. Capitalism is a system which exploits to sustain itself. It's just simply how it works. Even in the most regulated places, the natural tendencies of capitalism cannot be stopped. This is why people criticize capitalism. It's not because they are unpatriotic or are hippies or commies. It's because it leaves a lot to be desired. Capitalism followed the development and the advances of technologies and societies coming out of the Middle Ages. It helps produce so much stuff and created the modern world we enjoy today. But is it still necessary? With the incredible technology we have today, shouldn't we all enjoy and better manage what is produced by society? Not just those who control goods, production, and run economies. Scary thoughts and dangerous thinking. Some would say revolutionary. Now, if you thought this was interesting, give it a like, leave a comment, and share. Subscribe for more. There is much to learn before we can unlock the revolution. Remember, I am, you are, we are a mystery.